You can biohack your diet, optimize your career, and master your emotions. But there is a part of your biology that will never submit to your will. Every night, the most powerful leaders, brilliant minds, and highly manicured human beings collapse into the exact same raw, defenseless state. The snore is the physical shadow we try to hide, the equalizer that proves our civilized world is a fragile illusion. If you want to know what a human being truly is when the ego is dead and the mask is off, you have to listen to them breathe in the dark. Before we go deeper, drop a comment and let us know where you are watching from. We would love to hear from you. If you enjoy psychological deep dives like this, do not forget to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who needs to hear this, because what you are about to hear may completely change how you see people, relationships, society, and even yourself. Think about the last time someone truly saw you. Not the version of you that wakes up early, chooses your words carefully, and controls the image you send into the world, but the version of you that exists when performance is impossible. There is a moment every single night when you stop existing on your own terms. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of your social intelligence, your willpower, your carefully constructed identity, quietly surrenders, and what rises in its place is something your ancestors were intimately familiar with, something primal, something brutally honest. Neuroscientists call it muscle atonia. The throat relaxes, the tongue goes soft, the air passage narrows, and from somewhere deep in your body comes a sound you would never consciously choose to make. A sound that has been following humanity for hundreds of thousands of years. Across empires and dynasties, across boardrooms and war rooms, every human being, without exception, eventually makes that sound. The snore is not a flaw. It is the confession your body makes when your mind finally stops lying. Here is what should disturb you. Snoring is loud. In a world of predators, a sleeping human broadcasting their location in the darkness should have been eliminated by natural selection thousands of generations ago. And yet, here we are. Roughly 45% of adults snore regularly. This is not a biological accident. Evolution does not make that kind of mistake. Anthropologist David Sampson spent years studying sleep patterns across human history and came to a striking conclusion. Humans evolved to sleep in groups, not just for warmth, not just for comfort, but because the survival of the individual was always conditional on the survival of the collective. While some slept deeply enough to snore, fully surrendered, fully resting, others slept lightly, watching, listening, holding vigil. Your snoring was never a defect. It was a signal that said, I trust you enough to disappear. Think about what that means. In the ancient architecture of human bonding, the willingness to fall into unconscious, unguarded sleep beside another person was one of the most profound acts of trust the body could perform. Long before language had words for vulnerability, the body already knew how to express it. And it expressed it through sleep, through sound, through the total suspension of self-protection. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask every human constructs to navigate the social world. The confident professional, the composed parent, the charming partner. We spend enormous psychological energy maintaining that performance. We choose our words, we manage our expressions, we curate what we allow others to see. And for most of our waking lives, the mask holds. But sleep is the one state that does not negotiate. Philosopher Emmanuel Levinas wrote about the moment of truly encountering another human being, stripped of their role, their title, their narrative about themselves. He called it the face of the other. The moment you are forced to confront a person as they simply are, not as they wish to appear. Snoring may be the most intimate acoustic version of that moment. It is the sound of a person who has stopped performing entirely. And something in us finds that deeply unsettling, because it reminds us that beneath every composed, articulate, socially polished human being, there is a body that does not care about any of it. We fall in love with the mask. But the body always tells the truth. Power, status, and the sleeping self now here is where it gets darker. Because sleep does not just strip away the social mask, it also reveals the hidden architecture of power. Research consistently shows that sleep quality is not distributed equally. It follows status, stress, and control. Those with the least power in a social hierarchy, those with the least ability to shape their environment, sleep the worst. The nervous system of someone with no control over their circumstances does not fully surrender at night. It cannot afford to. Psychologist Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying stress biology and found that chronic low-status primates show elevated cortisol around the clock, including during sleep. The body in a state of social threat never fully disarms. It stays half awake, half vigilant, even in the dark. So when someone surrenders completely to deep sleep, when the snore comes, it is not just a sign of physical exhaustion. It is a biological signature of psychological safety, of a nervous system that believes, even unconsciously, that it does not need to stay on guard. And this is where the sociology becomes quietly devastating. Because the people most likely to lose sleep, most likely to lie awake at 3 in the morning, hypervigilant, unable to surrender, are rarely the ones with the most power. They are the ones with the least, the ones whose lives are shaped by forces they cannot control. Sleep deprivation is not just a health crisis. It is a portrait of inequality, written in the language of the nervous system. Intimacy, irritation, and hidden truth. Consider how many relationships have fractured, quietly, slowly, not because of betrayal or incompatibility, but because one person could not sleep through the other's noise. There is a profound irony buried here. The sound that most irritates a partner is the sound that proves the deepest physiological trust. The snore says, "I feel safe enough here to fully let go." And the partner, lying awake beside them, furious, is receiving that signal and rejecting it. Because in the modern world, we have forgotten what the body still remembers. Behavioral scientists call certain signals honest signals, communications that cannot be faked because they cost something real. Snoring is perhaps the most honest signal a human body can produce. It requires complete neurological surrender. You cannot perform it. You cannot choose it. It simply happens when the ancient part of your brain decides, on its own terms, that the environment is safe enough, that the people around you are trustworthy enough, that tonight you do not need to remain vigilant. And yet the modern world treats this signal as an inconvenience, a flaw to be corrected with nasal strips and sleep clinics and separate bedrooms. We have become so sophisticated in our discomfort with vulnerability that we cannot even tolerate its most unconscious expression. We have built an entire civilization around the suppression of honesty, and that suppression does not stop when the lights go out. So the next time you hear someone snore, a partner, a parent, a stranger on a long flight, pause for a moment before the irritation arrives. What you are hearing is not a malfunction. It is the sound of a human being who has, for this brief window of time, stopped pretending, stopped managing, stopped performing the elaborate fiction of control that all of us maintain from the moment we wake until the moment we finally, inevitably, surrender. What snoring reveals about human nature is not weakness. It is the truth that civilization spends enormous energy concealing, that beneath the status, the strategy, the carefully constructed self, every human being is still a fragile, social, deeply vulnerable animal who needs safety badly enough to broadcast it in the dark. The question is not whether you snore. The question is, who do you trust enough to let them hear it? This is Dark Mind Matters, and I will see you in the next revelation.